Randy Robison of Life Today TV on the road in St. Louis, Missouri at the ICRS convention. I'm here with a guy from American Idol, Danny Gokey. Maybe you've heard of him. Number 3?
Yeah, number 3 in season 8.
Season 8?
Yep.
Now, I'm not saying this because you're here. You were my favorite that season.
I like this guy. No, I really appreciate that, man.
Truly.
I got a lot of great response that year on the show. And so.
No doubt. Now, you got a book, Hope in Front of Me.
Yeah.
It's telling your story, because one thing people do remember was that, man, when you were on American Idol, you were going through it.
Yeah. Yeah, people, just a month before audition, lost my first wife. And people are like, what are you, insane? Why would you try out a month after she passed away? And there's a couple reasons. Number one is that I promised her that I would try out that year. Because I finally watched it with her, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to try out. But then number 2, it was the last year that I could try out for the show because they had the age limit.
Yeah. And
man, talk about being between the rock and the hard place. And I didn't want to do it, but then it's like, but I got to do it. And it was just a very, it was a situation of turmoil. And but I'm so glad I did it. It was so worth it.
Yeah. Well, obviously, it worked out. That part worked out.
Yeah.
But tell me about Sofia a little bit.
Yeah, Sofia was we were dated when we were in high school. We were about 16 years old. Got married at about 24, and she ended up passing away at she was 27, I was 28. She was a spunky girl. She was a Latin girl. She was from Latin descent, Puerto Rican, and just had a lot of flair. Loved kids, and it was just so unexpected that she would pass away. She was born with a congenital heart disease, and just when we got married, we never planned for this to happen. You never plan for stuff like this to happen. Difficult times come to everybody. No one is exempt. And, the thing that people need to look at, though, is to know that difficult times are coming, but how to respond actually will really determine the rest of the course of your life.
How did it test your faith?
I was mad. I was angry. I was hurt. Because I come from a background of faith where, we believe the Bible. And when you read about Jesus healing everyone he came into contact with, you're like, okay. And you read in the Old Testament about God making a way out of no way. You're like, well, God, this is the situation that we need you in to make a way out of no way. And when it doesn't happen, and when all your prayers feel like they hit the ceiling and fell down, I'm talking about years of praying and years of believing the right thing and not trying to get sides, swiped by the doubts, but just trying to stay focused on what God says. And it doesn't happen, it leaves a gaping hole between your faith, what you think is true, and then what really is true. And I was angry at God. I was mad at God, and I really share that deeply in the book. And people might gasp at that. I didn't want to be mad. I always tell people, like, you ever been mad at God, like really mad, and you don't want it? It's wrong, but like you can't change it. That was really me. And I started a journey that actually proved my faith.
How? Because that could destroy your faith.
Yeah. I started learning more about God because here's the thing, I was so mad at him, but I knew he was the only answer. You know what I mean? Like, even though I'm mad at you, you're the only one that can truly help me. Yeah. And I knew that I could run to everything else, but it would leave me empty. You can run to, many people can run to drugs or sex or, the world or to the scene, the club. You can do all that stuff. It ain't gonna help. It's still gonna leave you empty, and I knew that. And so I just started running into God. And I remember God sharing with me a very powerful thing. I started hearing this verse, be still and know that I am God. I was like, man, what does that mean? When God speaks to you, it's like you can't shake something. And I couldn't shake this. Everywhere I went, I'd see this verse or someone would share it with me. And I finally was like, what does that mean to be still? Okay, I'm still, you're God. This ain't helping. You know what I mean? And I started looking at the Hebrew transcript, and the picture that I started reading was talking about forcing your grip to let go of something. So it gave a picture of that. Sometimes we hang on to things so hard and so intense, and it said let it go, but let it go by breaking your forcefully letting it go. And what God had shared with me, what the Lord had shared with me was that you need to let go of the situation. And I was like, no way. Yeah. And so basically when I felt like, he told me I need to let go, I felt even more angry and unjustified because now, God, you're telling me to let go of something that I didn't do.
Did it sound like forget about her?
It kind of like, here's what it kind of was like, dude, let it go. Like casual, cool, like, I mean, even kind of like mean, like, dude, just let it go. It's like, you just don't let something like this go. When I said I do, I meant it forever. And so finally, but I remember I sat at the edge of my bed with tears coming down my eyes, and I said, I refuse to let this take me down. I pictured a hammer in my hand, and I would just picture myself, and I just said out loud, I'm gonna let this go. I forced myself to let this go, and it's like I pictured myself breaking my grip. Because it's almost like I was hanging onto her casket and being buried in the ground with her.
Which you literally were gripped.
Yeah.
When they lowered it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
They were, and so finally when I let that imagery go and I let it all go and I finally forcefully broke my, myself in that, it's like God pulled the plug from my heart. And it's like all this bitterness, all this anger, all this confusion ran out of my heart. And it's almost like I could see again. I became sensitive again.
And that's when the "and know I am God" stepped in, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I started realizing, wait, this isn't God's fault. This is my fault. This is something that I allowed. That's why people got to be very careful allowing bitterness, anger, and resentment in their hearts, because it will destroy you. And you'll feel like you have a right. You'll feel like you're justified. You feel like, this is my right to be this way. This wasn't supposed to happen to me. I wasn't supposed to go through this, but it did. So I have a right to hang on to it. You're literally digging yourself in a ditch and burying yourself. That's no way to live.
Was there not the temptation? Because like you say, right after this, and the months after losing someone.
Yeah.
It's not like it just kind of goes away in a short time. You process this over time.
It
And
is a process.
that's the time when all of a sudden you became famous.
Yeah.
Right?
Well,
Was there not the temptation to run to the fame and say, oh, so this is my out, this is my escape, this is where I'm going to find some fulfillment?
Yeah, and typically that's what most people do.
Sure.
But I knew in the back of my mind, I've seen so many stories and so many artists fall to death or fall into these vicious cycles of drugs or I've never seen good come out of those situations. So as I'm in this realm of fame, I never ran into that because I just knew every person who's ran into that has regretted it. I've not met one person if I could do it all over again, I'd get more into drugs. I'd double the amount of sex I could have, and I would, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but even not just the substance abuse, but just the fame, the acceptance of men, the pleasing of the people. That's the easier one to fall into.
It is, but it's a trap in itself.
It is.
You ever notice, you ever watch TV news of celebrities, they're always unhappy and nothing's ever good enough?
Yeah.
You fall into that trap. It's it's a difficult mindset to be in there. And so that's why, when I was talking about getting rid of those toxic emotions in my heart, the Bible says guard your heart, because out of it flows, your life will move in that direction where your heart goes. And so I started realizing I had a lens over my eyes, and I was seeing the life through bitterness, I was seeing the life through ungratefulness. Instead of being grateful that God gave me the opportunity to have her in my life, I looked at it as you stole her, you took her away. And honestly, I had the gift of having her. He gave me it to her. He gave her to me as a gift, and then at the right time took her back to heaven. That was a gift. But my evil. The lens just looked at everything as God is evil, the world is evil. You know what I mean?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Very bold statements like that. And so I started realizing as I was on the show to guard yourself from that other stuff, because that'll lead you down a different track, but it's the same outcome.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But I enjoy having that platform. I really do.
Well, and God gave it to you.
Yep.
So, if you honor Him with it, I think, you can't go wrong. And it's amazing. It's the grace of God that He protected you through that time from the stuff that was coming your way.
He really did, and that show became a point of hope for me, and it just one of many points of hope. And that's why the book, it's titled Hope in Front of Me, because I learned that what you look at in life is where you're going to go. So if you're in a vicious cycle in a society where it's all violence and abuse and drugs and poor parenting, you'll repeat that because that's all you ever saw. But when you take your eyes off that and you look at something that's real, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You'll go in that direction. I work with, kids and parents. We have an organization called Sofia's Heart that I founded in honor of my first wife, and we take families out of that cycle and we put them in beautiful rooms at our facility to first show them that they're valuable. And then we start educating them, setting their eyes on different things than what they've been used to. And literally their life starts moving in that direction.
One thing about you that I found very interesting, you grew up poor.
Yeah.
Right? And how many siblings? 5, 6?
I have 4 sisters and a brother.
4 sisters and a brother. Okay, so you
6 of us.
You didn't have a lot of money. And even going into American Idol, you driving trucks.
Oh my goodness.
You're working long
hours a
hours
week.
and not making much money.
No.
And then the American Idol thing, and then albums,
Yeah.
And so, I mean, I don't know, maybe, I don't know if you're the richest guy in the world now, but you're at least in a position so that this Sofia's heart, you're able to give.
Yeah.
What has that done for you to be in a position to give, to help others financially?
That's a great question because, when I was talking to you about, I didn't have much, or what you look at your eyes on, what you go to. And I remember when I was driving truck and a praise and worship leader, for that time. And
not a high salary position.
No, actually the praise and worship thing really didn't pay at all. That's why I had to take the truck driving job. But I knew I was supposed to do that.
Yeah.
But you're working 8 hours a week, and I just started reading books about entrepreneurship because I really like the thought of giving. Like one of the most powerful principles that I learned about God is He likes to give. And I was like, I want to be like that. But I didn't have much to give. Yeah. But I set my eyes, and I remember in a book I shared, I used to rent a closet. That's how poor I lived in. I lived in a closet. That's what I rented in the inner city, in the hood. You know what I mean? But that's how I was able to get back on my feet. But I was looking at the prosperity principles of God while I was there. And so, a lot of people, they'll be in that situation where they're in a poor situation, and they'll just kind of perpetuate that and just sit there because that's all they see. But I put my eyes on the principles of what God said, and literally I'm at this point today where I've done better than I've ever done, and I'm able to give more than I've ever been able to give. And it's the most beautiful feeling, and I never saw this for myself, you know what I mean? But it's interesting what God sees in us, and that's why He gives us His word, because He's like, man, I got a lot of cool things for you if you take it. You don't have to take it, but it's here if you want it. And man, but Sofia's heart is because those learning principles that we've been able to take, those principles of learning about tithing and giving, that we're able to form this organization, and we're taking homeless families off the streets now.
That's awesome.
You don't take homeless families off the street and not have money. You know what I'm saying? It's impossible to live on this earth without money, unless you're a really good outdoorsman. But then again, you got to buy. Unless you know how to build a gun, you got to buy a gun to go shoot your food. You understand? Like money is a very powerful principle that destroys a lot of people, but it doesn't have to.
Yeah, and what's more powerful than money is giving.
Yep, it's not being attached to the money.
Yeah.
You controlling the money, not letting the money control you. That's the most powerful thing.
Yep.
It becomes a tool as opposed to an oppressor.
Yeah, dude, you got some depth here. I mean,
hey, man, I appreciate that.
No, that's refreshing. Last question. You're married again.
Yeah.
Pronounce her name for me, first of all.
Her name is Leah Set.
Leah Set, okay.
Yeah, I know. When I first met her, I was like, is that how you say your name? Leah Set? And she's like, yeah.
Yeah. How's that going?
Oh, man, it's so wonderful. I love being married. We love having fun. We play tennis together. We play sports together. We go on dates a lot. We just had our baby,
nice.
And so his name is Baby Danny. I'm Big Danny. He's Baby Danny. He's just been a blessing. Can I tell you? He lights up my world. I get to go back, fly home today and see him, and I love seeing him and my wife. They're just the most precious people in my life.
Here's the cool thing. I got 4 kids, so I can say this.
Nice.
Here's the cool thing about being a parent. You start to understand the way God treats us out of the way you got to treat your kid.
Yeah, ain't that something?
It makes sense. You go, oh, okay, I just did that with my kid. That's why you did that with me, God.
Yeah.
And it kind of changed. You got a lot of good things to look forward to.
Man,
music
I appreciate
career,
that.
still doing well.
We just signed with BMG Records.
Yeah.
And so we're getting ready to put out a single around the same time the book comes out.
Country-ish, pop-ish?
This is going to be more soul-based because I'm a soul singer. And so it's going to have some elements of pop, maybe some elements of country as well. But we haven't fully nailed down the sound, but I'll tell you this, it's going to be this one, my first album, they have a lot of control in it.
Yeah.
This album, I get a lot more control.
A lot more control?
And I have a lot more experience. And so, although I loved my first album, I think this album is going to really it's just going to be a whole nother level of Danny Gokey.
Looking forward to hearing
that.
Looking forward to hearing that. In the meantime, we'll read Hope in front of me.
Yes.
Check out his book and wait for his music. If you're watching this months from now, go check out the music now. DannyGokey.com. Dude, thanks for spending a few minutes with us.
Appreciate it, man. God bless you.